And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the PiGosaur Monday number 4. Your weekly dose of open StarCraft here for the Americas and Korean and European region. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, one and all. Welcome all to those in the chat, the lovely players that we have as well, and my plushies. We have a bracket. The bracket is live. The bracket is stacked. On top of that, welcome, everyone. Welcome to our very first PTR cast. I know that the KSRC was live earlier in the evening or in the night. It was crazy. Was live earlier, but now we are live for the first time in the PTR with a new map pool with a new patch. And spawning in the top right hand corner of ley lines, we have the American Terran player, the orange Terran. It is Patches, aka AI very easy. What's uh-oh. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Peruvian Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Mute. We'll have to try to fix. Hold on. Can I fix that? Let's see. Un momento, papi. Un momento. Refresh. Oh no. Never mind. So because we are on the PTR public test realm, it does mean that some things may be not working as intended, so I do apologize for the intros. We'll try to fix that. Meanwhile, oh, we're already going for the proxy. Here we go. We have one Rax back at home, one Rax across the map. Now there is a lot to get into, and we will slowly be going through all the changes. For the time being though, nothing too applicable yet. We do have, of course, Mutes going for the gate expand. Meanwhile, Patches going for a 2-Rax, I imagine 2-Rax Reaper build to be hyper aggressive here across the map. Oh boy, here we go. Of course, we can at least appreciate and embrace ley lines as well. Welcome everyone, one and all. Buenos dias. I also appreciate the birthday wishes that I was given earlier. Oh my god. We'll have to get rid of that at some point. Actually, can I? We just have to change some of our. Oh. Okay, beautiful. There we go. We'll have to adjust some settings. Again, we are on the PTR, and Milo was another player that I was messaging. I don't think they know that I'm casting a different series. I don't think they're fully aware that we're casting a different series, but regardless, we got the Reapers. They have arrived. Going to be threatening that natural. Likewise, oh my god, committing here, going proxy factory. One base all in. Just going to be a one base all in by Patches. Going to be all or nothing. The first Reaper moving out. Meanwhile, Mute is setting up back at home, going for a Robo opener. Very safe play here by the Protoss. Mute was able to scatter across the map. It did confirm that, of course, the Rax was missing. And as a result, Mute, he's preparing for aggression. So far, a good response by Mute, going for a Robo, working towards Immortal production. And we'll see if Patches will be able to catch him off guard and still break him regardless, as he's going for a wait, what? Proxy 2 factory? What's going on? Okay, so a second factory is on the way. We have the reactor on the factory as well, so going for a battle mech? Like, what can we afford here on one base economy with 2 factories? This I'm not so sure about. I'm imagining like Cyclone Hellion ? But this is going to take a while to really get going, and as this is progressing, of course, we have Mute building up on 2 bases. The first Immortal is already on the way, and Mute is looking quite secure. Meanwhile, yep, it is going to be Mass Cyclone. So we are reactivating out Cyclones as we speak. And that's going to be all or nothing for Patches. Meanwhile, Hallucination will confirm the missing production. Scouts to the main base gets eyes on the fact that there is nothing back at home, and that should be raising some red flags. There we go, shield batteries are on the way. Now, these shield batteries are a little bit late. The first wave of Reapers are already upon us, but I imagine we're going to be needing more than just one shield battery. Oh, I'm not showing health bars. Oh, I will have to adjust that. I was wondering, like, what am I not seeing here? Okay, hold on. Damaged. There we go. Ah, beautiful. But again, it is a separate client, so the PTR, I mean, so some of the settings might be a little bit wonky. It's all good. I think we usually have, hold on. There we go. God. I was like, this doesn't look right. Beautiful, beautiful. As, yeah, just proxy 2-on-1 kind of setup here. Tech labs, like, this takes so long to get going. I mean, finally we do scout this. The Cyclones and the tank. I mean, this is quite a devastating army here for Patches going into proxy tank production. And 2 more tanks are on the way. Mute is aware, setting up a second shield battery. I imagine a third shield battery. He's got 3 Immortals. And the problem here with this kind of like mech-based all-in is Immortals completely shut this down. It scans ahead of time. There's 3 Immortals back at home. First tank will siege. Mute pulls back, takes a tank shot to the face. The shields are triggered. Shield's going to be triggered. Patches going to be just slowly pushing forward with those tanks getting within range of that initial shield battery. Meanwhile, Mute just moving across the map. Why not? Why not at this point? As the first shield battery is under fire. I mean, okay, that's one of the big differences, of course, in the new patch is that there is no overcharge. But Mute, I don't think he needs it. He just moves out across the map instead. Yeah, he's forcing the all-in. Patches, he's on a timer. Keeper's going down. Patches, the supply blocked. Backup shield batteries are on the way. Boys are being pulled into Stalkers. It's going to be pretty here for Patches. So many SCVs going to be going down, but the tanks are gaining ground. And again, that's a lot of tanks. The Immortal's still amassing. Still building up. It's going to be 4 Immortals. Without a surround setup, I'm not too sure if Mute can actually break out of this. I mean, charge is done. But he needs Zealots. He needs Warpins. And Nexus is going to go down. Meanwhile, all the SCVs have fallen. CC does evacuate. Oh, and Patches, he's going to be recalling back home. Sorry, Mute even. I'm not sure if Mute can break through. He does get on top of the Cyclones at least, but the tank fire, oh my god. There's so many tank shots going off. Immortals are going down. But it looks like Mute does have enough. Yeah, he does. Will lose all of his Immortals. Was not a pretty trade, but GG gets caught. Mute holds, and Mute takes game number 1. GG. The hell do we just watch? Ay. On the one hand, we have been theorizing, of course, and I should also mention the players. We have been theorizing, of course, that that tank pushes and 2-base tank all-ins are going to hit really hard in the upcoming patch. But not like this. This was just a 1-base, double factory all-in, and it was just really unfortunate that Mute was playing so safely, so securely. He did open up Robo into Immortal, so he completely shut it down. He was in a bit of trouble towards the end there because he wasn't able to slow down the tank push and slow down and pick away at the tank count leading into the all-in. But regardless, was still able to hold on nonetheless. Did cripple the economy across the map. GG. GG, well played. Mute takes a lead in the series, and we'll see if Patches can bounce back. Oh boy. I mean, Mute is going to be favored here, 100%. Is going to be favored in this best of, but I want to believe that Patches can threaten him as we're getting ready for game number 2. We're going to be loading into El Dorado. Oh boy. For those that are curious, we are going to be embracing the newer maps in the map pool. The announced maps, I should say. El Dorado, for those that were here a couple of years ago, this is very similar to Golden Wall, but it's very small. It's like half the size of Golden Wall, so which is kind of crazy. A lot of gold bases. There's 3 gold bases on El Dorado, and I'm curious if we can make use of any of them. I'm a little bit concerned that Patches might just go for another all-in, but we'll see. We shall see. As we are going to be loading into that second game. It's catching up in the chat. Recall in, but I mean, I wasn't too fond of the recall. I'll be honest, if Mute just turned around and set up a surround instead, I think that would have been a little bit better for Mute to come in from behind with those stalkers. Regardless, did take it, did break through. I thought this was already live. No, it's still like a month out before going live. So this is just the PTR. The patches are not going to be finalized yet, which means they're still subject to change. As here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the American Terran player, the Orange Terran. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Patches. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss player from the land of Peru. Leading the series 1-0, it is Mute. AKA very easy AI. Let's go. And this is going to be one of the more unorthodox maps in the map pool. Very short rush distance by ground, short rush distance by air as well. Welcome to El Dorado. So similar to Golden Wall in many years past, you can mine through these mineral patches, gain access to the southern half of the map, where you have gold bases towards the north, you have gold base here towards the center as well. You can even try to throw down a gas geyser and try to mine through these mineral patches and gain access to the natural. I guess that is the big difference between this and Golden Wall. Golden Wall, the mineral wall is actually in the main, so you can actually mine right into the main base instead. Here, it's going to be at the natural, so a little bit more secure in that sense, as the SCV has mined through and is looking to throw down potentially a ninja base. Curious where we're going. Likewise, there are also minerals here in the center that you can also mine through to gain access to the Centros del Naga. Patches is going for the initial racks first. Single gas geyser is going to be racks into expand. It's going to be a more economic opener out of Patches. He should be going for the CC, but will it be at the natural location or at the gold? Eyes are on this SCV as Patches, he's building up those minerals and he's going for the gold expansion. Now this is a very exposed base, as you can imagine, it's all on its own. Mute is still looking for the expansion, looking for the setup. If Mute were to check this mineral wall, then he would notice that it was mined through and he would gain access to this location, but Mute has yet to do so. So he's still scouting here towards the north. There we go, gold base is on the way. Patches going for the Reaper first into Reactor. And we'll see if Patches can get away with this. That's kind of the big question here. Mute behind this does confirm the racks, is aware of the more standard opener this time. Is going to be potentially a 3 racks here from Patches. Okay, there's potential. Either a 2-1-1 or a 3 racks. Regardless, a more aggressive follow-up here. Very biocentric with Stim on the way for the Terran. Reaper dips in. And will pick off the Sentry. Not a bad pick-off. Sentry goes down. All the doubloons! I appreciate the aesthetic. Doubloons all over the place. And once again, Robo. Okay, so once again, a very safe opener by Mute, going for a Robo. What this means here is that once again, he has access to faster Immortal production. On top of that, once Mute realizes what's going on, he can also go into fast Colossus production as well. So a very safe play out of Mute. Meanwhile, the workers are being transferred over towards the gold. Patches behind this. I assumed it was going for a 3 racks follow-up. This is a 4 racks. This is much more committed, much more aggressive. I mean, it does make sense because you can afford an extra racks and extra production because of the gold minerals, true. And this should be a Stim timing. Yeah, Stim is on the way. And this is going to hit like a truck. Now, if Mute were to scout this, he can respond with a Bay with fast Colossus, but Mute has yet to really confirm what's going on. The Sentry went down earlier, but we do have a backup Sentry warped in, hallucinations on the way, and Mute needs to scout. He's moving through the center of the map. Mute checks the gold across the map as well. I don't know if he realizes what the minerals were mined through. Does get eyes on all the Raxes. And I said before, a 4-rack setup is going to be a 5-rack setup. And Mute has finally scouted the gold base. He knows. He now knows what's going on. How does he respond? The Bay. So far, a very crisp response here by Mute, going for the Heroic Spade. This means that the first Colossus should come out in time for the first push. And with 1 Colossus, I mean, he's going to be fine. Mute should be able to hold on. As he's going to be walling up. The natural is actually quite large. Looking at some of the features of the map itself, you can see, of course, 2 entry points. Very wide open. Very exposed as well. I can definitely see 4-gate Blink being potentially... Oh, never mind. I was going to say potentially an issue, but I believe Blink Stalkers cannot actually get into the main from this low ground location. So they can only hit the natural. Interesting. Meanwhile, the Marines have arrived. The Marines have arrived. Pushing up the ramp. There is going to be a force field. And up! Oh, we do misplace! Uh-oh. Force field was misplaced. Marines, they stim on in. And that's going to be the death of all the Adepts, the Stalkers as well, the Sentry, the Probes, and everything's going down. Colossus will finally arrive. And we'll clean this up, but the damage is going to be brutal. So many workers go down. Oh my god. The Colossus under fire as well. Will shut down the Marines, but that was how many probe kills? That was 14. 14 workers going down. Now, what is impressive here is that Mute still has a comparable worker count to his opponent, but Patches has the gold, so he still has that greater economy. Again, you can see that one Colossus is all you needed to defend against this, but the force field, right? The force field was lackluster, was misplaced. If it wasn't for that, Patches would have held on, would have saved his mineral line, would have been in a beautiful position. Mute team, I think I said Patches. So that was a brutal hold. He is going to be limping along. Is going for the ninja base here to try to recuperate, try to recover. Bold move. Going for top left. Now getting into a second Colossus. And Patches, he's gearing up and getting ready for the second wave for the second push. This time with Marauders. He's already got a third CC as well. Of course, he can afford it thanks to the gold. And Patches can keep pushing. Do we have any backup sentries to do? Okay, we have a force field available. True. Mute's moving out, looking for any stray third. I mean, there is one, but Patches is unaware. I keep saying Mute. God damn. Aye. Okay, scanning for the third. Spots that there is none. Now, upon seeing no third expansion, honestly, there's nothing forcing Patches to push up this ramp. He doesn't have to. He can just chill. I mean, in his mind, he can just chill. He can back off. He can tech up, take more bases, focus on the economy. There we go. 4th CC now on the way. This makes sense for Patches in his mind. The problem is he doesn't know there's a ninja base. As we just had a recall, doesn't know that Mute's economy is actually comparable to his own. So Patches working with incomplete information. Meanwhile, Mute, of course, getting to a 4th Colossus. That's quite insane. 4 Colossus, diversifying his splash damage, Temple Archives on the way, that's going to be for Storm. Patches, he does fan out his Marines, thankfully. He's looking and scouting, and he will find the ninja. He knows, and he should shut it down. Okay, now spots the base, does respond. And I believe Recall is still on cooldown. It is. It's still on cooldown. Marines, they dive into the mineral line, probes are going to fall as well. Massive pickup. They're gonna try to escape, and some of them will, but the base will fall. And Muty has to push out. And how does he compare here? I mean, Muty is lacking some anti-air, so Viking production is gonna be ideal. The Vikings are amassing. Base goes down. Patches is moving out. Threatening a dive. Again, still was unable to really threaten this gold whatsoever. It's so exposed. Said Patches taking it back up third, saved a handful of probes, and he's just going to be more defensive instead. Gonna wait for Patches to push into him. There we go, Patches, he is pushing. Does move out. Sieging up within range of the third. Stims in. Colossus are doing what they can, but there's no shield battery. Shield battery still just now finishing up. The Zealots, they do tank a lot of shots. But the Colossus are exposed. The Vikings, they go ham. They're going to be able to take the first one down. And Patches, he should take this fight. Again, the goal base was never punished. Even almost mined out. And Patches, he should break through. He doesn't really have much left to work with. Oof. 2 more Colossus remaining. But again, there's no anti-air. The Vikings are just getting free damage. Finally, Stalker's warping in. Mute, he is holding on. Barely. But I spoke too soon. Oh, nice warp in. You calm down. Saves one of the Colossus. Takes down some of the Vikings. Oh my god, but that was still a brutal pick-off. Another Colossus goes down. And thanks to the economy patches, he can just keep going. He can just keep rebuilding, remassing. And he's going for wave 3. And he should be able to overwhelm Mute. As there is no more splash damage, no more Colossus. A storm isn't done, was never researched. The Bio Army, he stims. And he's looking to win. The Archon morphs in. But the tanks, they're getting within range. I mean, again, it's quite impressive that Mew was able to hold on for as long as he has, despite being down so heavily here in the economy. But GG gets called and Patches ties up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Ooh, GG. Oh my god. GG. Also, big shout out to Blaker Dudes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation in the chat. Gracias, papi. Gracias. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it, papi. $13.37. Thank you so much. Do appreciate the support, and again, all the money that we make here on the channel goes towards our tournaments, goes towards Sparkling Tuna Cup, Sea Duckling Open, Master Swan Open as well, so thank you. Do appreciate it. Oh. And we are going to Game 3. Getting into Game 3 here. And I'm looking forward here to seeing some of these other newer maps. Again, when it comes to El Dorado, I do think that because it's a new map and because I imagine Mute isn't too accustomed to it, again, he wasn't really too fast to scout and to check for the gold. On top of that, something that I should have emphasized, I don't know if you noticed, but the mineral wall, it's not too visually obvious when it's been mined through. I don't know if you saw, but it was only like one small slither where the SCV could move through. So because that visually it wasn't too obvious, that may have also led to Mute scouting a little bit later, just because he didn't think that it was open, and didn't think that a worker had actually gone through. So that could also be a bit of a factor as well. And with that, GG, well played. We are going all the way to the ace match. And we're going to be loading into Whispers of Gold. Okay, here we go. Sorry, just catching up. Also, shout out to PiGosaur in the chat. Ga, baby ga. Should also mention that, of course, this event is sponsored and organized by PiGosaur alongside Pig as a co-sponsor as well. So thank you so much for the gifted subs. Thank you so much, papi. Thank you so much for subscribing and for gifting subs as well. Thank you. Thank you. Much love to Stegosaurus. Feliz cumpleaños, mi papi de StarCraft. Gracias, gracias. Gracias, man. As we are loading in. Now, unfortunately, due to, even though the word is in the name, there are no gold bases on Whispers of Gold. Why is that? Why? Shaking my head. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the American Terran player, the Orange Terran, who are tying up the series and forcing the ace match. It is Patches. There we go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Peruvian Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Mute. Hold on, I have to read it. Where's the, there we go. Not very easy AI, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's go. As once again, we are setting up for a fake proxy here. The initial Rax is thrown down at the third base location. This time, not as committed. Last time, of course, there was a one base all-in game 1. Here, Patch is trying to fake out his opponent. We'll keep an eye, though, on that second SCV as it does move out across the map, and we embrace Whispers of Gold. The main is huge. Jesus. The main is quite massive, actually. There's going to be Reaper Cliff here that is being walled off. Of course, a Blink Stalker aggression going to be very viable. Drop play as well, as the main base is massive here on Whispers of Gold. Scrolling on over towards the natural as well. There is no ramp coming into it, so the entry point actually to natural is quite large as well. Jesus. Very wide open space here area to enter that natural base. Third base looking a little bit more secure though. We do have a narrow choke point, likewise towards the left hand side as well. A very interesting potential third base location. It's really awkward. We don't often see bases positioned quite like this, vertically I mean, which is far more exposed, whether it's the wide ramp towards the left, whether it's towards the north here once the rocks get knocked down, or even run bys towards the south as well. So really kind of odd kind of base setup here. We don't often see it, not unheard of, but just very uncommon nowadays. So I imagine that's probably not the base we want to take unless we're going for something like a Roach all-in across the map, like a Queen Walk across the map. I can definitely see the space being taken to spread creep, to like launch creep across the map, to knock down these rocks specifically as well, to reinforce and to commit to an all-in, specifically, you know, in ZVP, for example, maybe ZVT with kind of a gasless opener. But now though, we do have Mute going for a gate expand into his second gateway. No tech yet. Going for a Sentry-based opener. Once again, Sentry taking a lot of hits, but it will survive. It will zone away that Reaper. Will force it back. Meanwhile, back at home, it is going to be a 1-1 setup. So nothing too crazy. Going for the Rax expand into the factory. Reaper first. And Mute, once again, Robo opener. I don't know if you noticed, every game in this series so far, Mute has gone for a Robo. I mean, for good reason, in Game 1 and Game 2, going for the Immortal and going for the Colossus. Meanwhile, Patches, once again, sorry, I just realized he's going for a second factory. He's an animal, Bobby. Hallucination will get eyes on one of the factories, doesn't get eyes on the other, so incomplete information here for Mute. He did spot the floating racks, and that should be a tell. That should be a tell that something is wrong. Hallucination will check, and he does confirm the second factory. So very similar to Game 1, it looks like it's going to be a mech-based all-in. Yep. Third factory's on the way. Feeling mass Hellion Cyclone. Oh boy. So Patch is looking to mech it up. Meanwhile, upon seeing all the factories, Immortal production, right? So once again, it pays off to go for a very safe opener from Mute. He's gone Robo every single game, and oh, actually, he cancels the Immortal. Interesting. I mean, with canceling this Immortal, he's going for a faster Twilight Council. I imagine this should be for charge. I mean, you can go one of two ways. Either charge first or blink. As we do see Patches prioritizing Blue Flame, not Hurricane Engines. Interesting. He's going for Blue Flame instead. Immortal was restarted. It is going to be Blink first. So Immortals and Blink Stalkers eventually into charge. Mute just trying to be secure, trying to be safe. And Patches is amassing his army. Interesting. Third TC's on the way, so Patches is not going for a 3-base all-in. He is building up quite a force to work with. It's quite threatening, quite terrifying, but is expanding. He is going for the third expansion. Patches moving out. Oh! Putting out some Hellions. Speed out a couple of Hellions. Mute pushing out across the map as well. Now, because it was a Robo opener, Blink is late. Blink is delayed. So Mute can't really threaten the main base quite yet. Has to wait for his upgrades. Likewise, tanks getting position. Patches now getting into Hurricane Engines, switching into tank production as well. Oh, but some of the production here is caught out. Yeah, Cyclone does fall. Massive pickup. Cyclone. Observer gets spotted. And this army for Mute ideally just wants to slow down the push. Slow down any kind of move out. And give Mute a heads up. Reinforcing with more Stalkers. Third base is going to get up and running. Likewise, not a lot of bases to take either. I mean, just the map layout here is intriguing to me. I'll say the Whispers of Gold is one of the more unorthodox maps in the map pool. It is very wide open here in the center of the map. When we were going over the maps during the podcast, oh my god, as Mute gets caught out. Yeah, 3, 4, 5 Stalkers falling, massive pickoffs. Oh my god, almost another. Mute does get away. But we were going over all the maps in the map pool, and this one is one of the more quote-unquote like open maps, mech-oriented as well, less defensive, less turtley compared to some of the other maps in the map pool. So we'll see if patches can actually make mech work on this map. Like, I feel like there are others that are better suited for it. It's kind of what I'm getting at. Just because of how many different attack paths or attack avenues are going to be available, especially once the rocks get knocked down. Till then, Patches, he does move out. Does push, supply looks Mute. Charge now finishing up. Tanks have arrived. Not too many tanks, but they're getting within range. And Mute is going to try and go head on. It's not going to be pretty. Tanks within range of the Nexus. There's a shield battery behind this. Nexus taking a lot of hits. And here comes the surround. Zealots from behind. They do run into some of the Cyclones. Decent pickoffs though. Yeah, Mute, he does commit. Going for the tanks. 1 and 2 tanks go down. There's one more tank behind this. And Mute will completely shut this down. Gets the final tank. Again, those Zealots, they put in a lot of work. They shut down the Cyclones, came in from behind, drew away some tank fire, and Mute breaks out. He breaks out, and that was a massive loss for Patches. His tank count was reset, being forced back to the third base. His third is, again, very vulnerable, very exposed. He's just getting his fourth. Getting his fourth up and running. Mute, he doesn't commit. And Patches, he's still just throwing down more factories. He's committing into this mech style. I mean, I appreciate something different here, true. I appreciate it. But it's very difficult to make mech work here against Protoss. Just because Chargelot Archon Immortal does so well, it trades so efficiently against Cyclone Tank. Like, typically, ideally, mech would be the more efficient army, but that is not the case in this kind of game state. Alien Rumbai is denied. Zealots, they warp in to defend. Mute's army is spotted. Cyclones, they rotate. Tank looking to siege up, but alas, late to siege. The tank goes down. And from here, Mute team just collapse on the third. Zealots, they bust into the middle line, forcing friendly fire. Cyclones getting caught out by the Chargelots. Yeah, and Patches getting pulled apart. GG gets called. Mute will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Mute will take it. I appreciate the Patches. He tried different builds every game. We had even a crazy one base all-in game 1, which kind of fell on its face, but I appreciate that Patches did try to think outside the box. Here in the ace match, going into mech was a bold move. In a way, mech has been improved in some ways. Specifically, Hellions, they do additional bonus damage to light units. Blue Flame Hellions specifically, that helps with run-bys, that helps with harassment, true, but Yeah, outside of that, wasn't quite able to make that work. I feel like usually mech in TvP, it can work. We've seen Gumiho make use of it as well, but he does often either go for earlier timings, just very crisp, very aggressive timings with Cyclone Tank, or does pivot away, fall back, and turtle up with like a heavier tank style instead, and play more defensive. And I don't think this map really helped patches. Like this is one of the more open maps in the map pool. So trying to turtle on Whispers of Gold, that does feel like disaster kind of waiting to happen. There are definitely better maps for that. Regardless, GG. GG, well played. Mute will take the series, and with that, let's catch up on the bracket. We do have a lot going on. Shout out to Patches though for, of course, competing, and Mute will make it into the round of 16. And the question becomes, who's up next? Does he have an opponent that is not the bracket? Un momento.